The field of pickup artists has reportedly destroyed lives and objectified women by encouraging men to treat them like shit. In this video, though, I wanted to share a very mixed perception, as having been part of that world like many other guys my age, and having seen both the positive and the negative sides of it, I will address, and we will address together, the question: did it destroy men or did it elevate them instead? And my conclusions may not be the ones you've expected. At first, my personal experience with that world was, I would say, overly positive and optimistic, because I saw mostly the positive sides of it. I was still in college, having tons of fun and experiencing some of the best years of my life, and it was pretty refreshing for me to discover that there were methods I could use to meet girls, and which was something I was completely unaware of how to do back then. And at the exact same time, which has been a bias, I guess, in my judgment, at the same time I discovered NLP and hypnosis, which became some of my biggest passions in life, and I even made my whole job out of this, and now my whole business out of this. Still have massive passion for those topics. So for me, it was linked with a lot of very positive values. The whole pickup artist world back then, to me, was linked with a lot of positive encounters and situations. Ultimately, did I get success with women by studying those methods, both NLP, pickup artists, whatever you want? Absolutely, I did get success.
Yes, I did.
So with that alone, I would have been tempted to say that, of course, it is a great thing. It has been helpful to many men like me, and I think it is bringing a lot of positive in the world, positive threat and value in the world. However, obviously, and the reason why you clicked on this video, we have to address the toxic sides that this world has portrayed too. My first disillusion with the world of pickup artists or manosphere or stuff like that came when I started traveling around, sometimes in Eastern Europe, sometimes in Southeast Asia. And I met a lot of those guys, so Tinder coaches, guys who were traveling, digital nomads, who had coaching business with helping guys to get matches on Tinder or dating apps. And they all came from the pickup artist world. So initially, I was glad, you are on the other side of the world and you meet somebody who comes from the same kind of background. So I was delighted and I said, yeah, cool, we can hang out. And my disillusion came pretty fast when I discovered that the beautiful world I had made in my head was not really the reality of most guys studying pickup artist stuff. Those guys I met overseas, a lot of them, first of all, didn't really have that many skills with women. They had like basic skills, but they didn't really understand female psychology. They didn't really know how to solve a real argument in a long-term relationship. They didn't know how to even keep a girlfriend for a long time. Many of those guys didn't really have that many skills at all. And specifically, there is one with whom I was heavily disappointed, because from what he was talking about, I thought he knew a lot and he had a lot of experience. And one night we went out together with the intent, obviously, of going back home with some ladies. And we started the night. His behavior was weird, because even if he definitely had skills, social skills with people, he was good at talking, definitely. But even with that, he just wanted to keep approaching and keep approaching and keep approaching, because he said, oh, I have to warm up to get into my social game, to get into this, and then to approach that 10 out of 10 girl. And in the beginning, I was like, yeah, okay, fine, warm up, whatever you want. But after like 1 hour, we ended up into a group of both guys and girls, like very friendly people, great vibe, everybody drinking, laughing, joking. And I was like, yeah, cool, we are set for the night. Like, there is at least 2 girls who like me, at least 1 who like you, from what I could see from the behaviors. I'm like, that's okay, pretty great, we have made the night. And he was like, oh, no, I should not stay there in that group, because now I have to keep approaching, because otherwise my mood will de-escalate and I will... And I'm like, dude, we're just with a group of great people right now. Can we just enjoy the moment? And it was literally impossible for him. And later during the night, he ended up approaching another girl in another club. And he was kind of really rude with her, trying to be rude, I guess, to get attention, but she did not respond well at all. And I was in the middle of them both, so he was on this side, she was on this side, and I felt the rudeness and how triggered she was by what he said, and I tried to make a joke to de-escalate. And she said, "I like you, but I don't like you." Okay, fine. Later, she found me again in the club and she kissed me. Then we had a conversation outside, and after like, I guess, 30 or 40 minutes of talking with her, she followed me back into my apartment that was really close to the club. So I even apologized to the guy because I said, "Oh, sorry, you approached her first and she ended up with me." And he said, "Oh no, dude, she was dumb as hell. I didn't like her anyway." So that was one example, and I could mention many others that made me realize that this whole pickup artist field was not as great as I thought it was. And another one I met was somebody who had worked, I think, as a video editor for The Real Social Dynamics, and he was heavily complaining about it, like many guys who worked for that company. I don't know, I was not inside the company, I don't know how shitty it may have been. No clue about it, but I heard many guys complaining about the RSD, what the RSD was from the inside. And this guy was complaining about Tyler, the famous RSD Tyler that many guys know by now. And it was another thing that was weird for me because I kind of liked watching Tyler when I was younger. At least I would say I identified with the earlier version of RSD Tyler, of Owen Cook, and I didn't really identify with the more recent version of what he became later. Specifically, what I did not really like about what he became was his heavily competitive side on the business aspect of it. Not the advice he was giving for meeting women and stuff. I kind of always found value in that, but the business side of him, I didn't really connect with it at all. And that brings the biggest pitfall I have personally with that world. It is that whenever I met people who were only studying that with the intent of having a girlfriend, even one night stands, whatever. But when it is only about women, I kind of met a lot of pretty positive, pretty interesting encounters. Some guys who were really fucked up, but they were not mean or bad or anything. They were just very depressed and they needed help. But they were not bad people either. They were just depressed. So it was not that bad. However, whenever I met people who were from the pickup artist on the business side, so now I will run a business about this, I make a business about this, or maybe not about dating and relationships, but maybe they come from the pickup artist world and they transition into make money online, I'm going to be rich and be a millionaire. Those guys, I have seen the most fucked up people I could ever see. So that was a big downfall for me. So maybe the whole money thing is more at cause, which may not be true. I don't like to criticize money itself because I think the understanding of money is extremely valuable in our modern society. But I would say those guys who put money as an ultimate priority over all else in their life, I used to have a very bad experience with them. So as a conclusion to all of that, my view was overly positive because I was mostly in the NLP side of pickup artists and not just how to meet girls, but really the NLP side, and more specifically the original NLP side, not just the sales techniques, but really the healing, all the deep hypnotherapy techniques, all the deep roots of the Palo Alto school with Paul Václavic and Fritz Perls. I was really studying that stuff, and I was evolving in a group of people. When I was studying psychology in university, I was evolving in a group of people who were all surrounding around this. So all the pickup artists I met back then were all into a circle of extremely positive vibes, where everyone is studying how healing works, how can we heal this trauma. It was a very highly supportive group. Only later did I discover that this was only my experience and that I was extremely lucky to have that group of people initially, and that not everyone who studies pickup artist stuff is going in that road either. And my biggest take, as I recall all the things that I discovered and experienced through that world, it is that it can be great It can be great to learn about those techniques if, and only if, you have thoroughly investigated yourself and already figured out where is your life going in a general way. When you have a pretty serious intention, you have a pretty serious life project that goes beyond woman, money, when you have a big project of life like this, then all those techniques can only improve your life. But when you put that as a priority over all else, whether girls or money or any of those external things, external rewards, then it's usually the beginning of fucked up life. And it may not be that harsh when you're 20 years old, but the more you advance through life, the more scary it becomes, because it is less and less cool to just be a weirdo who doesn't have a job and is living on a couch. It is less and less cool as you advance through life. So I wouldn't say it is bad in itself. For me, it is only bad if you put the external rewards as a priority and if you only focus on very, very long-term results. When I first started, I was heavily into practicing my voice, practicing with approaching, but because I had been an artist before, so it was a lot of improvisation skills I enjoyed developing at the moment, in the present, not because later I will have a girlfriend, but I enjoy doing that in the present. And if you can link those techniques you learn with enjoyable things in the present, that makes you grow, in the present as you advance through life right now, then it is, I would say, good. If it is only to cover a void inside yourself, and if you're only feeling empty, dead inside, you hate everyone, and you think women or money are going to solve everything, then you are in for a big fucked up road, let me assure you of that. Now, you may have a different opinion. I will be glad to hear about your views on that topic in the comments down below. And if you want to discover more of my work these days and what all of this led me into, you can find a document in the description called The 7 Steps to Master Sleight of Mouth, which is much more where my skills brought me into communication skills and how to develop your communication skills more than only getting girls, but how do you communicate in all aspects of life so that you are more charismatic and also can reframe and argue every time somebody is trying to prove you wrong or even manipulate you, because those shit can still happen. That being said, thank you for listening. See you again in the next video, and in the meantime, keep practicing. Thank you.